Hi, Caleb with Brownells here, and in today's video we're going to be going over how to swap barrels on your BRN-4 upper. So if you're not familiar with what the BRN-4 is, this is the HK-416 clone upper receiver that we make here at Brownells. And what we're going to be doing, or let me back up and explain why we're doing it here. So the barrel this one came with, this is a nitride barrel, right? And this is also the 14.5 inch. And what we're going to do, especially now that we carry the chrome line barrels, we're going to go ahead and swap out to a 13.7 inch chrome line barrel. Alright, so important things to remember. If you're going to do a 13.7 barrel swap, you have to do it on either the 14.5 or 16 inch upper. Reason is the 10.3 upper has a different piston block up front here, and it's not going to properly regulate to that 13.7. So use the 14.5 or 16 inch. Alright. Now, tools we're going to be using, we have a vise, right? You need a vise. And then our upper receiver fixture. For this, we're going to be using the device, but you can use, whatever upper receiver fixture you want. Your AR-15 ones work just fine, so it doesn't have to be specific to the BRN-4 or HK-416. Okay, we're using our fix-it sticks with our torque attachment here, and a 5mm hex wrench, and I'll tell you why later. We're also going to be using a large torque wrench here for getting our barrel on and off, and this really important tool here, this is for HK barrel nuts. Alright, so this is just a adjustable barrel nut tool here, and it works on pretty much any HK barrel nut and obviously BRN-4 barrel nut. Alright, so let's just kind of go ahead and jump right into it. First thing we're going to do, remove our bolt carrier group and charging handle. Get those out the way. If you have a handguard on it, obviously, you're going to go ahead and you're going to need to take that handguard off. We don't have a handguard on, so we don't have to worry about that. Alright, lock this in here. Now we can go ahead and remove our piston assembly. This has got to come out of the way. So this is your piston cup here. We're just going to pull the rest of the piston assembly back away from it. Lift up and just pull it out, and it's all nice and contained. Nothing's gonna go flying anywhere. So we'll just set that down, get that cup out the way, set that down as well. Now we can go ahead and remove the barrel nut, and all you're gonna do is take these adjustable posts on your barrel nut wrench, right, one on each end, line them up with the holes in your barrel nut, and then just tighten them down by hand. So I got one in there. Make sure the other one's in. Alright, they're both in loose. I'm just going to tighten them down. Alright, now, it's going to wobble around like that a little bit. That's perfectly fine. It's going to do everything it needs to do. Now we're just going to remove the barrel nut. And this is just like any other AR-15. Just loosen it on off there. Get that locked down. Alright. And I'm just gonna remove my wrench from the nut here and loosen it by hand. I'm just gonna leave the wrench itself on the barrel nut because it's going right back on after this. Alright, and one thing we're going to need to do that I did not mention is remove the gas block. So all we're going to do for that, really easy, really straightforward, is if you look at the gas block, there's a roll pin there and a roll pin there. All we're going to do, knock those roll pins out, and it's going to slide right off the front. So for that, all you need is a roll pin punch and a bench block and a hammer, like anything else we do here, and I'll go grab that and a rag, and we'll knock those pins out. Alright, so we'll just take our bench block here. A roll pin punch and a hammer, and just drive it out from either direction. Alright, there's one. Alright, and there's two. That's all there is to it. Alright, and it's going to come off of the fronts. And if it's a little stubborn, just use the back of your hammer and give it a tap. Alright, and that'll come right off. Barrel nut comes off. Alright, and in case you were wondering, the roll pin punch I used was a number 6, I believe. Yep, number 6. And that's the perfect size for this barrel. Okay, so there's still plenty of oil on the inside of this upper receiver here. Plenty of grease on those barrel nut threads and barrel nuts, so I'm not going to reapply any of it. So I'm just going to take this barrel, slide it on, take our barrel nut, hand tighten that, and then for the barrel nut torque, let's see where we're at here. I'm just going to come to about 45 foot-pounds. That'll be plenty. Alright, get that torque wrench off. Pull that barrel nut wrench off. Alright, so from here, I'll just pull this out the vise real quick. And we're just going to use that same piston block here. Slide it on over. And put those roll pins right back in. And unlike the AR-15's pinned gas blocks, these actually line up with the holes, alright? So they don't have to be drilled whenever you install a new one. So what I'll do, I'll just kind of make sure everything's aligned there. And sometimes what I like to do with this here, just to kind of make sure everything stays nice and lined up, is I'll start it on this side, then I'll come to the opposite side and start it as well. Alright. Get it started with the hammer, then I'll go with the punch. And if you're going to do it like that there, just make sure you're not hitting it too hard with the hammer because you'll deform it. You want it supported. I'll just give it a few taps to get it started. Alright, then I'll just go back to that other side and finish it up. Alright, and that's all there is to it. That's reinstalled. Alright, now we'll throw our piston back in. Piston assembly, I should say. Alright, it goes in the exact reverse order it came out. Cup goes in first. Then, if you look here, there's this big flat on the bottom back side of your piston assembly. That goes right over the barrel nut. And you push everything back, slide it into the cup, and there you have it. We're pretty much back to square one, but with a new barrel. It's that easy. Alright, so I'm just going to show you a few different handguard lengths that kind of go with this here. First, I'll just show you the 13.5 inch handguard. Let me loosen the screw here. And I'll just slide that on. Alright, and as you can see, that comes right to the end of the barrel threads, okay? So if you're using a muzzle device that's going to be mounting a suppressor or something like that, probably not the best option for you. Alright? And this is the 9-inch handguard. This is the one I would recommend when running this barrel length here. There we go. And as you can see, this one comes just to the back side of that piston or gas block there. And you can put whatever muzzle device you want on there. So we're gonna go ahead and install this one. I'm just gonna, these were both Midwest Industries handguards, I'll mention that too. But all we're gonna do for the screw is tighten it down. I'll throw a little torque wrench on there too. These are pretty big screws, so you can put a good bit of torque on them. They're nice and strong. I usually put about 55 inch-pounds on these. Inch-pounds, okay? Not foot-pounds. You put 55 foot-pounds on these, you're going to be calling for a new one because it's going to break. Alright? So we'll just tighten that all the way down there. Alright, and that's all there is to it. From here, obviously, you put on whatever muzzle device you want. Same exact process for putting one on an AR-15. If you don't know how to do that, we have some great resources on it. Alright, so that is your BRN-4 barrel swap. And if I didn't mention it in this video, I know we mentioned before, the BRN-4 uppers fit on any standard AR-15 lower. Alright, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. If you're watching this on the website, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.